Hi, y'all, it's Brandy, and today is Tea and Tarot Tuesday. As usual, I don't have tea. Unfortunately, I should have made some, but I'm in the middle of a bunch of classes today, so I have water, which is almost gone. So, this is inspired. It's a VR to V, who is V's Love and Crystals, and she put out the hashtag Tea and Tarot Tuesday. And I actually have a second on a Tuesday to record properly. I haven't had a chance to do anything ahead. Um, so my name is Brandy, and what I decided to talk about today, V put up a whole bunch of challenges, not challenges, but like prompts or possible ideas on her Facebook page and also on her YouTube channel, which I would recommend you go and check out. It's very cool. She does a lot of readings, really fantastic, and she's super sweet. One of the challenges was favorite things. It was inspired by Lisa from Supportive Tarot. I used to do favorite things all the time on Periscope for different topics that would come up. And I really like watching Lisa's favorite things. So I have done one previously. It's been over a month, maybe almost two now. Quarantine time makes everything weird. So I thought I would throw one together today before I go to teach one of my classes. And here we go. Can jump right in. So that's one of my favorite things in the past month is my um, dance classes. Teaching dance classes online has been super fun. Uh, I love doing it. My kids are very, very smiley. They love learning the choreo. They love the conversation. Um, just everybody's really good about it. I have kids from all over the place, which is even more fun. I have used online learning, distance learning, Zoom, Google Classroom, all the things for over a decade. I've homeschooled my kids for a very long time, 15, 20-ish years. I have six kids, and the oldest is autistic, so I've homeschooled special needs and all different kinds of personalities. And so my kids are still in school. This isn't too much of a change for us. It's kind of a regression backwards. It's a little bit different because the outside world is kind of trying to push into the inside world a little bit, which is a little weird. But I'm trying to help the teachers in the public school system that my littles are in, because a lot of them are just like, what am I supposed to do? So trying to be like a parent assist for some of that. And I have my own classes online now. And then my other favorite is that people are really trying to help people through tarot has spiked a lot, right? Because people are feeling very fearful and crazy. And so my tarot readings have gone through the roof. But I have found that a lot of the questions aren't fear-based. And so that's one of my favorite things is that people are taking the time to their questions are not as fear-based, I guess, as I expected, or it seemed at first a lot of them were going to be. So people are really moving in an interesting, compassionate, kind direction in a lot of ways, and that's teaching online and helping people socially connect online and also helping with readings online and stuff has all of that is something I'm really enjoying. Um, it's been very positive for my family. So that's what I wanted to start with. Speaking of online things, before I show you, I have props for some of the other stuff. Um, so in most of my life, I grew up without a TV, and I haven't spent a lot of time watching television. And so recently, my husband and I he's good at watching television and movies. He's seen all the things. We've been able to see a lot of movies and a lot of television shows and things like that. Before the quarantine hit, we went and saw a bunch of movies. And I got to tell you, if you get a chance to see The Gentleman, it was not what I expected. I'm not one for gore, and I really didn't know what I was getting into in that it's a little bit much, but not really. The editing is fantastic. The acting is off the charts from people that I really didn't expect it from. And that seems to be the theme to my current favorite stuff right now is the actors really hitting a new bar for some of the shows. The writing was brilliant for that movie. It was fantastic. It is not the kind of movie you can zone out of. you still have to pay attention. Um, Fantastic movie. Absolutely fantastic. Funny in ways I didn't think it would be funny. Just really, really fantastic. What else did we see? 1917, I think I mentioned in my last favorite, was shockingly good. Unbelievably good. Oh, I know what we saw. We saw Jojo Rabbit. If you have seen this movie without giving spoilers away, like, was it what you expected? I'm really interested to hear people's comments because I can tell you that I deliberately put off seeing that movie. It sounded like something I was not going to be interested in. And when we finally sat down and decided to watch it at home, when it first started, I thought I have made a dire mistake. I am not sure I want to watch this movie. And about 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, wait. So you have to recognize that the movie takes itself seriously without taking itself too seriously, which is kind of fantastic. Later on, I found out that the director also is in the movie and was part of the writers, and that's brilliant because that is a very difficult thing to do. But that movie is brilliant. It's brilliant. And it touches on so many things that don't get touched on when talking about the Holocaust that I just really, it's not preachy either. The things that it touches on, it had an opportunity to be preachy about, and it wasn't. Uh, that is a fantastic movie. Um, I'm trying to think what else we saw. Onward. Onward is the other one we recently saw with the kids. That movie is also fantastic. And it's funny because usually I don't like a lot of things, but all of the stuff we've seen has been really good. Onward was far and away hilarious. And if you're an 80s kid at all, that movie is going to speak to you on levels that you're like, what? You have to explain to your kids while you're laughing at stuff that they are like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, parent? 80s, 90s kids, you know? um, but really, really well done. Absolutely fantastic. Um, I don't know why I was surprised, but I was. As for TV, if you've watched Altered Carbon, I would love to know your take on it. So I know some people that really don't like it, and I loved it. We watched both seasons, and we watched the kind of anime cartoony thing, which I also really enjoyed. I didn't think I was going to. The husband watched Beastars, not it's so it's an anime, and it's Beastars, and it wasn't like I caught some of it. I was reading, you know. Uh, he wasn't off the charts like this is fantastic, but it was pretty good. And so we've had conversation about that. Altered Carbon. I started Luna Nera. I'm really enjoying that, but we'll see if the husband gets into it. It's a little bit slow, but that's okay. That doesn't bother me. I'm trying to think what else. Um, uh, what was he watching? I don't actually remember. But besides that, we started Ozarks. Ozark? Ozarks with an S. It's on Netflix. It's Jason Bateman producing. He's written some of it and he's starring in it, which again, not an easy thing to do. Um, and so I've met Jason Bateman and he's absolutely hilarious, which some of the best humorous people are actually very dramatic and have a lot of baggage. And the best comic actors are usually fantastic at drama. It doesn't always work the other way. So dramatic actors are not always good at comedy, but usually the reverse is true. And he's fantastic in this show. Um, the writing is really interesting. I can't decide if it's really good writing or if they have different writers and one of the writers is really good and one of them just irritates the crud out of me. Because like I have that with Doctor Who. Like if it's a certain writer for a show, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm really gonna like this episode." And then like if it's another writer, I can guess it without even seeing. I'll be like, "Oh, this must be a so and so episode," because um, I'm not sure about that. The editing is pretty good. It's a little hard to watch sometimes, but it's not Breaking Bad hard to watch, at least not yet. Okay, so the beginning was, but I think that was a shock value to get everybody invested. As time goes on, it's not quite like that. Definitely an adult show, but I'm really enjoying it. It moves at a really good pace without being so intense that like I can watch that and go to sleep. When I used to watch Breaking Bad, I would be so hyped up and heightened I wouldn't be able to sleep. So, and I did not watch all of Breaking Bad because of that. It was just too much. All right, so that's my favorites for that. 10 minutes of me talking. The other two things I really have enjoyed in the past week that are instantaneous are 21 Pilots released a new song that I really like. I love that they know their audience so well. They they made a song for everything that's going on and then immediately broke social distancing rules by Tyler Joseph went to a family function with like 70 people at it. The video is hilarious. Level of Concern. It's called Level of Concern. I love the video. The new baby is just adorable. And the other thing I've really been enjoying is I'm rarely on Facebook, but I've been trying to find tarot community on Instagram and Facebook. And so that has been fun. If you have any suggestions for that, just leave them below. Let me know. Or if you're from YouTube and you're catching this on the hashtag, just let me know. I'm really trying to build community mostly because I can. I kind of haven't really been able to in the past too much, but now I can. So let's see. So we're going to move into my props, and I think we'll be good to go. So my favorite drinks recently. So I don't really like mules. That's not really my thing. With good vodka though, it makes a huge difference. We had one with a really not fantastic vodka the other day and I was like, "Nope, I'm good." And then we had one with a more expensive vodka and it was actually fantastic. So, but it's not something I would order all the time. I did try an amaretto sour a few days ago. That was amazing. I love those, although it has to have the right balance because if it's too sour, I'm out, and if it's too much amaretto, it's too sweet. And like so, yeah, that's a thing. I sound like an alcoholic, but I'm not really. I just have an opportunity to try a few mixed drinks in the last 2 weeks, and so and those would be the two mixed drinks. Um, but I did try a couple of sodas, and we got these from my local grocery. They make root beer, Bundaberg, and they make ginger beer. Now, I love ginger beer. These are not the same. Root beer is made with like sarsaparilla or molasses. They are also not the same as birch beer. So if you have spent any time on the East Coast, especially in the tri-state area, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, birch beer is definitely a thing in those areas. It's often in German-based cultures in on the East Coast. I know for sure. I know they have it lots of other places. I just am not sure where. Um, there's birch beer, there's root beer, and there's ginger beer. They're all fantastic. They're all different. I don't remember what the main component of birch beer is, but it's very different from root beer. And ginger beer is very different from root beer. But so this company makes both of these, and they come in these really cool brown bottles with like a flip top. I talked about it in my pick a bottle, pick a card for half a second. Really, really cool. This root beer does not, it's not like a mug root beer or an A&W root beer. It's actually like serious old-fashioned traditional root beers, like sarsaparilla based. Let me see. Um, yeah, sarsaparilla and molasses, ginger root, licorice root, vanilla bean, and yeah, so like root beer. And it's fantastic. Off the charts good. Tastes better with ice and cold than it does just straight out of the bottle if it was warm. This one is ginger beer. So this one, it's pretty much just ginger. It's carbonated water, a little bit of sugar, ginger, and then like soda stuff with scientific names. Um, this has got that spicy, like ginger thing going on. Really, really good. So I don't know if they have anything like this in your area, but this brand is fantastic. If you get a chance, when you get out of quarantine and you have never tried a ginger beer, I recommend it. If you like ginger, I'd love to know. I'd love to know if you've heard of this brand. They're Australian owned. Um, and it's kind of like craft beer soda, craft craft brewed, but soda. So really, really good. Um, book. So I haven't been reading any fiction books lately because I just haven't. I have one that I need to finish, but I'm kind of the husband's been reading it with me, like to me out loud, which is like the sweetest thing in the world. And so that book has been on forever. But I am reading this Jordan Peterson. Uh, so my first reaction to this, I love Jordan Peterson. I love psychology. I love philosophy. I love reading really strong things. And Jordan Peterson is someone I can follow he teaches through stories, which I think is one of the best ways to teach. He's brilliantly written. He writes for the layperson as if you can understand it without being overly preachy or over obnoxious or over educated. So he doesn't take things and break it down, and assume you're stupid. He assumes that you can either figure it out or the story will explain it to you. And so it's accessible to pretty much everybody. But there's a component of intelligence that raises the bar, which I really love that writing style. It's not an easy accomplishment. So I'm really impressed. I've only gotten this far in the book. Okay, so like I'm like 100 pages in. I'm on like rule number 4. So let me tell you, when I first opened this and I looked at it, I went through, like, it has the table of contents here. Okay, right here. And let me tell you, the reason I bought this is because I saw his YouTube on this book, and it was hilarious. Like, it started out with him, he's giving a lecture on this book, and it starts out with him going, can somebody tell me what the first rule is? And people are like, really not answering. He's like, no, really, I wrote the book so that I wouldn't have to remember these things. And they asked me to do this speech, and I figured I would just know it. But now that I'm up here, you know, I don't remember where to start. And for some reason, that beginning and that honesty really gripped me. And so I started watching this YouTube video. I'm sorry about the dog. Um, they're probably playing with him right outside the door. So I apologize. But the way he talks is exactly the way he writes. And it was fantastic. So I got this book and I thought, well, even if I don't read it, like maybe one of the teens would want to read it or whatever. So I got it for my son for his birthday. And he was interested, but he's currently reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and he wants to read those 5 books. And so I picked this up. So I started reading these rules and I was like, oh, this is kind of like meh. I don't know. These are all things I know. These are all things that I already ascribed to, pretty much. I think there was one that it put some thought in and I went, oh, okay, I could work on that. But as I'm reading it, there's some really good, it turned out that even though I think I ascribe to some of these things and I practice a lot of them, uh, you know, the manner in which he brings it to your attention, you can always do better type thing passed over me. So it's actually been really useful. The writing's fantastic. It's not heavy, even though it looks like a psychology book that would be heavy. And I would recommend this book. I'm actually going to be getting this book for quite a number of people just so they have it in hopes that they read it because it's brilliant. The writing is fantastic. Even if it doesn't help you grow in any way, the messages are enlightening, they are lifting, they ask the right questions, and some of the harder questions, which I really appreciate. So this has been what my fave for reading. I've also been going through the Holistic Tarot and Benabel Wen's one of Benabel Wen's classes recently online. But I don't have any props for that. Those are all fantastic. I love her. I don't know if you have caught her, but she's been working on a novel. She's been doing novel vlogs. She's super fun to listen to. I just want to be like her best friend. I'm going to buy all of her books eventually, and I want to like talk to her all the time. So, yeah, somebody let her know how much I appreciate her and her methodology and her manner of speaking and just, yeah. Maybe don't let her know. She might be like, who's the creepy girl that can't match her patterns? This is a Star Wars shirt, by the way. So it's not that I can't match patterns. was just cold today. So the last but not least is a couple of games. So with the kids, the littles, this game has been a big hit over and over and over again. It's Corridor Junior, and this is the back. And it's a little labyrinth game. I may have talked about it previously. I didn't go back and check. All it is a little board that you leave in the box, and it's got these little figures and these little bushes. And it is a competitive game, which can cause problems, but you take your little pieces and they match up according to side of the board. You can kind of tell, like the bunny wants to get home to its carrots. So you see there's carrots. So I'm going to put the bunny on the opposite side. So the bunny is going to try to get to the carrots. Can you see that? There you go. And then the other players are going to, so the bunny just moves one square at a time. And the other players have to take, they have a certain number of bushes. They look like this. And these just fit in this little grid. Like so. Boink. Like that. And then the bunny has to go around that to get where it needs to go. And the thing is that you can block everybody from getting where they need to go. Sometimes you block yourself too. And the goal is to get all the way across. Very simple game, but it takes some thought and some strategy, which I really appreciate for my 7 and 9-year-old. They do get a little bit upset sometimes and want to like take revenge. And I'm like, is that the best way for you to play that? Like maybe you want to rethink. So if that's not your thing, or if you don't want to navigate that, just be aware. But it is really fun, and you can play easily like 2 or 3 games of this in like half an hour. So that's always good, because then, you know, you're not taking a huge chunk of your day, but the kids feel like they got it, and then they can always play it by themselves if they want to. Another thing the kids have been doing is First in Math, which you may be using for your school. They have it. You can set it up for parents or for classrooms. It's really fantastic. They've been doing First in Math as an app. They have it on their iPad. It covers everything Common Core and beyond, and they really get a lot of practice. They get rewards pretty quickly. Splash Learn is we're using it for math pretty much on the PC for the littlest one for math. Really fantastic. She really enjoys it. We used to use ABC Mouse. We don't use that anymore. Now we use Reading A to Z, and that has been pretty fantastic. If you're interested in specifics on that, let me know. Last but not least, last night we opened this, which, yes, it is just straight up zombie Monopoly. It's really funny. Everything is zombie related. It has instructions you can keep in front of you, you know, classic Monopoly style. Okay. The money is that dog. The money is just standard, you know, it's like Monopoly money, but different. The little pieces, you've got a femur, a shovel, an ear, a shoe, a hammer, and a little boy, and some dice. And then the cards are crawl and stagger. And then they have things on them that you can read and do out loud. And of course, the titles for the things. So they're not as easy to read as regular Monopoly, okay? At least we didn't find them as straightforward. And they didn't have some of the information that regular Monopoly has, but that's fine. On the back, they actually put really funny or interesting things about zombies. I don't know if that's focusing. But like that one says, it is generally believed that the hours before rigor mortis sets in, zombies would be at their most dangerous. They would briefly have the strength and speed of living humans before their bodies would be ravaged by decomposition. Stuff like that. Some of them are funny, some of them are serious. There's little screaming human heads instead of hotels. Super cute. They put a lot of thought into it. I do have one complaint. This is the board. I know I don't complain that much, but this is the board. So your standard boink. But I don't know if you can see this. So this board is actually kind of hard to read. And some of the colors, so like there's yellow, orange, and red, which I can see really well on camera there. But when we were playing, it was really hard to differentiate some of the greens, some of the yellow versus red, and these little pieces, these silvery pieces, they would absolutely, we would have a terrible time finding where people were. So that was a little tiny bit of a problem. It wasn't a big enough problem to make it unfun. We had a blast. Kind of funny, like some of the things you have to do to be a, like to win, you know, crawl around looking like a zombie or say brains with a growl, things like that. This was not a cheap game because we got it in Williamsburg and it was expensive, but it was really fun. We had a blast. The 9-year-old did play with us. She had no trouble, a little bit of trouble with the money and the math when it got really high in numbers, but it was really fun. So if you like zombies, you like Monopoly, this one was actually a win. And we will be playing that again in the future. Um, so that is my response to V and my favorites currently. Oh, I did have one other thing. I just got my Witch's Moon box the other day, and in it was a healing light aura spray. And at first, when I was smelling this, I really didn't think I was gonna like it, but um, yeah, it smells pretty fantastic. So I just wanted to share because I forgot because it was right in front of me. I didn't put it with my props. Anyway, I hope that you guys are handling quarantine pretty well and that you enjoy Tea and Tarot Tuesday with V. And may you have many blessings upon you. Thank you for spending time with me today.